Hello, welcome back to the Comprehensive Assessment of Leadership for Learning, or CALL. This video will demonstrate how to look at call data over time if you have administered the call survey multiple times. This video is especially useful for individual school leaders who are working in one individual school. As you can see in my dashboard, I have one school here, and I can also see that I have administered the call survey multiple times in my school. With these multiple survey administrations, we have the opportunity to examine progress over time at the domain and subdomain practice level. We can do that by clicking on the boxes next to each one of the surveys for our school. I can also go up to the top and click Select All. And as you can see, all of the surveys and the date they were administered are populated in this box here. Then I click on this big green button, View Report. Now, we will be able to see our data clustered from all the survey administrations in our school. We can see the name of our school, the individual dates when the survey was administered, and the domains and subdomain practice categories as well. Within this heat map, we have our ratings for each of these subdomain practices. We can also see that there are different colors in these cells. We can look at the top of the page at the legend to see what these colors mean. The different colors and the different shades of green and red are showing us if the ratings are above or below the call average by standard deviation. The darker the red, the further the rating is below the call average, and the darker the green, the further the rating is above the call average. But to see the change over time more clearly, we can change the comparison view. For those who work with multiple schools, this site-to-site comparison would compare the various schools in this view. But for a single school that has administered call multiple times, this would actually be a survey-to-survey comparison. Now with this view, we have the same schools, with the domain and subdomain practices. But the legend now is showing us that the red and green are indicating low and high ratings in comparison to the other subdomain practices. So a cell that is dark red is the lowest in our comparison, and a cell that is dark green is the highest in our comparison. Knowing that, what we see here is a trajectory in many areas from red to green or low to high. This school has administered the call survey a few years ago, and they have administered it each year since. We see a gradual change from red to green with some dips here and there in between, which is to be expected. Again, this is a way for a school to view call data at each subdomain practice level, how they have progressed or not progressed in any of these given areas. What if we now want to look at each individual item in our call data, and we want to see where we've grown or not grown at that item level? To do that, we're going to go back to our dashboard and take a look at our most recent survey for this school. Back in my call dashboard, I'm going to look at the most recent survey that this school administered. I'm going to click on View Report. In my report, of course, this is going to show us our areas of strength, improvement needs, our view by domain, and our top 10, bottom 10. We could look at any of the individual items within this report and look at the progress or lack of progress over time. So let's actually go to our top 10, bottom 10 list for this example. Let's start with this first item here. In our top 10 items by differential to average, we can see, as our other demonstration videos have shown, we have our rating and we have the average rating as well. We can see what subdomain practice this item came from, and we have the distribution of responses as well. As we scroll down, we can look at the data for this item from each of the surveys that were taken in years prior. We can see the data for this item from each of the previous survey administrations. We can see the year, the number of responses, and the rating. In this year, we have a rating of 3.67. And the year prior, the rating was 3.68. And we can look at each year thereafter. For this item from this year, we can see differences in distribution within the histogram. At what point we had more responses clustered around option 2. And the year prior to that, more responses clustered in options 2 through 4. and the initial time the survey was administered, we can see a bit of a difference from the other data for this item. Looking at the change over time, you might be able to see a story with how these practices have changed, or not changed. Now let's go to our bottom 10 list, looking at the lowest rated items by differential to the call average. This question is about posing high-level questions in the classroom. This was a low-rated item in this particular year. If we look down the line at the previous data for this item, will we see that this has been a consistently low area for the school? Well, not necessarily. In this case, it looks like the rating for this item has fluctuated over time. Change in practice over time is not always linear. This reporting feature would be especially helpful for those who have administered a quick call survey, which was explained in another demonstration video. Hopefully, you have viewed that demonstration video and taken advantage of the quick call feature. In another demonstration video, we're going to see how to look at the quick call data by using this change over time feature we demonstrated here. So, please stay tuned for that. Thank you.